Welcome to the Southwest Florida Real Estate Update, hosted by the York Group of Downing Fry Realty. Our show will bring you the most up-to-date information on the local real estate market, presented by leading experts in the field.
Welcome to the Southwest Florida Real Estate Update. I'm Morgan York with the York Group of Downing Fry, and today we're joined by our host Jim York and his guest K.Kinzel, Collier County Clerk of the Circuit Court.
Thank you, Morgan, for the introduction. Well, Crystal, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Last year you came on, which was very nice of you, and I think we're going to try and make this an annual get-together here on the show to give us a little update of what's going on with the clerk's office. So before we get into the show, just tell us a little bit about your job responsibilities.
Thanks, Jim, and thanks for having us. And I agree. I did this last year and really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you again this year. The clerk's role is primarily a three-pronged role. We're clerk to the courts, and we're clerk to the Board of County Commissioners, and we handle the recording function or official record keeping for the county. So the official title is clerk to the circuit court and comptroller. So we have three pretty significant roles.
And how many people work for the clerk?
We have about 191 FTEs this year going into budget.
Okay, and then before we get into a lot of stuff, how's the reporting go with the state? Will you present a budget and do they approve it, or how's that work?
Yes, we're funded from multiple sources. We have to prepare a budget for the courts, and that goes to the state through the Clerks Association. It's actually the Clerk of Courts Comptroller organization that's run by the legislature, and they do the reporting straight to the legislature. It appropriates to the Clerk of Courts organization, and then we present our budgets to that entity, and they decide what the valid budgets are for each clerk throughout the state of Florida. Then the Board of County Commissioners will be presenting our budget to them. May 1, we submit it. They'll have their workshops in June, and they fund the clerk to the board function. And then the third prong, the recording, is actually the revenue that the clerk's office earns. And we are a profit-making entity, and I must say we continue to be a donor county on the court side. We return money to the Board of County Commissioners regularly. We try to implement cost savings throughout the year. And then the recording, we use the profit that we make on that to offset the clerk to the board side so that the taxpayers don't have the full burden of all of our costs.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't know if our viewers understood really how the whole clerk works.
Right.
Okay. Risk alert notification, that's something that's new that people can see on the website. What's that all about? Oh,
thanks for asking. That's one of our new programs. We were fortunate enough to have that developed through a recording function, and it has to do with property records or official records. But individuals, it's one of the protections. While you can't always protect everything against fraud, we can do our small part. And what this risk alert is a notification. So for example, if you have a deed or a mortgage recorded with our office, and you have a name, and you want to make sure that no one is altering your deed or altering your documents that are in the official records, you can go to our website and sign up on our risk notification. You can do it as a corporation, you can do it, we recommend that you do it for multiple names. So for example, James York or Jim York, whatever detailed names you think might be used for your records, then you can register those names, and if someone alters a document or submits a document with that information on it, or makes an attempt to redirect your documents, anytime those names would come up, you'd get an email from the system that says a record or a document's been filed with this on it. Then that would give you the opportunity to say, okay, I know what that is, or wait a minute, I didn't file anything, and then come back to the clerk's records and see what has been filed and make sure that it's a legitimate filing.
Yeah, it's something similar to like, credit card fraud that people notify you on something like that, right?
Correct. That's why we thought that would be a good feature to help citizens.
I think it's a great thing. And you said there's about 600 people have signed up already?
608 as of Friday when I checked. So we have had a good public participation, but obviously we'd like to get the information out there to everyone in the community. If they have a concern on their record, or if they think that they have a lot of records that could be used or attempted to have fraud occur, we really recommend they sign up, and it's free.
So I'm just going to ask you one more question about that. If somebody does a real estate transaction today and they signed up for your notification and it's recorded with the clerk down, maybe within 2 weeks or 30 days, or will that show up so they see that it's been recorded?
Yes, it should show up
A
for
net
them.
notification.
Right. So if they're already signed up in our system with that information
Right.
and they record the document, then they should see it, that it's in there.
Yeah, I
and
think
they
it's
should get a notice that says it's
I
recorded.
think that's a good double check, because sometimes things aren't recorded properly or whatever. At least
Might be delayed, and
it
you
might-
want to make sure.
That's right. Same thing with the mortgage, right? When they record, would be everything that would be recorded in a real estate transaction, correct?
Right, correct. And I will tell you, Jim, I would always recommend that individuals, when you file a document, always go in and make sure that it has been recorded properly.
Right.
There are redactions that need to occur. We're human. While we make every effort and we double check all of the records, we have a 2-check process before a record is actually put out to the public to make sure that we've redacted the appropriate information. It's always a great thing for anyone to do when you record a document. Make sure it's correct.
If people want to go into and check records of certain things, it's fairly easy to do, right? It's an easy process. And maybe just tell our viewers, what are some of the things that can be checked on the website?
Oh, great. Thank you. We've worked a lot on our website. We've tried to create what I refer to as easy buttons. The website has multiple buttons for everything from tax deed sales, tax deed information, processes, foreclosure information on the sales that are coming up, the data and information. We also have how to do passports, how to do marriage licenses, which many people don't know that we do, but our office also handles marriages and passports. You can also go into the board records as our clerk to the board function. So you can look at budgets, you can look at financial information, you could look at all of the investments made on behalf of you as a taxpayer. And so we hope that our website is just a wealth of information for anyone that wants to go there and find out what's happening. For example, in the court records, if you're renting property, you want to know anything about that person, you might want to at least go into the court records, look up the name, and make sure they haven't had prior evictions. They may not have had bankruptcies. Anything that was handled in Collier County would be on our site in the court files. So that might be good for your listeners.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, and there's lots of forms there that you can file on your own versus having an attorney also, right?
Yes, we have a lot of forms, and we've also, in the last 6 months, we've established a pro se litigant, which means pro se just means you can do it yourself. And so we have a center now with all of the forms there in a book. It shows you how to complete the forms. We have someone there to assist you. While we can't offer any legal advice, these are Supreme Court approved forms that you are able to fill out and file with the courts yourself without the use of an attorney. So it reduces costs. Things like tenant evictions, small claims court, those can now be filed independently within our office or online.
In statistics, let's before we take a break here, let's just hit on one statistic. How about foreclosures? What do you see in the trends on foreclosures?
Foreclosures are running about what they were prior to the big recession in '08. They're back on track, a little over 400 foreclosures for the last year. So that's what we were running annually in that ballpark.
That's right.
Prior to the huge decline in housing.
Which was in the 700,000 to
07,
800,000
right.
that you had filings back then.
Yes.
Do you know how long on a foreclosure the process is being through the courts now? Do you have any idea how long it's taking till it gets to you for the sale? I'm sorry to put you on the spot there.
No, that's fine. Unfortunately,
I know
it
it used
varies.
to be years, but
And unfortunately, we're still seeing that. Based on the court processes in general, the opportunity to withdraw whether we have a bankruptcy, the foreclosure, for the individual to come back in and perhaps lay additional claims to the property with all the people that are usually involved, the banks and things in a foreclosure, it is a rather long process. I don't really know the average, but it is still rather lengthy process before a foreclosure is actually finalized.
okay, well, we're going to take a little short break here, and we're going to be right back. We're going to hear about the York Real Estate Group, and then we're going to come back, talk about a lot more statistics that we have this information from the clerk. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thinking of buying or selling a home in Naples, Marco Island, Bonita, or Estero, Florida? Think of the most experienced York Real Estate Group, associated with the #1 brokerage in Southwest Florida, Downing Fry Realty, which produces yearly real estate transactions of over $1 billion. Jim, Michael, and Morgan make up the York Real Estate Group of Downing Fry Realty, with over $275 million in sales transactions, along with offering over 25 combined years' experience in the local market. The Yorks can offer the experience and trust you need in a realtor. Call them today at 239-273-6727 or visit their website at www.naplesyorkrealestate.com.
Welcome back. Let's continue the conversation on statistics. So what are you seeing on transactions that have been recorded with the county?
Well, one of the primary indicators of business transaction or real estate sales, which are property transfers, so whether that's a new sale or a sale of existing property, but that's up in the first 2 months of this calendar year. We're running a pace almost 11% increase from last year. So there is a lot of activity going on in the property world.
In those recordings could be how soon, what I'm trying to get at is that not immediate, it could have closed really with the attorney or the closing agent in December, early January, and then filed with you in February, correct?
Right, but what we usually see, I will say this, that properties that are transacted in December are usually rushed to close, and we get huge volumes at the end of the year for the taxes.
Great point.
And so they're usually very timely filed. And we hope that most of the records are timely filed so that they are in the official record as soon as the title company or the owner's business is completed.
And then how about construction trends are you seeing? Notice of commencements, which explain what notice of commencements is for our viewers.
Notice of commencements is in primarily any housing repair or new construction, you have to file a notice of commencement of that process. To get permits filed by the county at growth management, you have to also issue a notice of commencement through our office.
In that notice commencement has the person's name, the property, the general contractor, the scope of the work, and does it have a price of what the
Correct,
estimate?
A general estimate on the work.
And why do they form a notice of commencement?
Primarily to provide notice to the public, the same way the permitting, posting of the permit filed, it shows what's in process. For contractors, also notice of commencement is required if you have any subcontractors, they can file the liens against the property. So it's very important that contractors file their notices and file all of the paperwork on time to complete their business.
Exactly, that's what I was trying to get. So where are we seeing those trends?
Interestingly enough, the notice of commencements were down about 4.7% in the first couple of months of 2020, but we think that's probably a run out of the Irma impact. In 2018 and 19, we saw significant Irma activity with repairs. So I think that's winding down, or at least has gotten much better over that course of that time. And even though it's down about 4.7%, it's still over 5,000 notices of commencement in just January and February of this year. So business is still booming, it appears.
Wow. And then on this notice of commencement, you talked about January 1st, they changed the notary application?
Yes. Oh, thank you. Very, very important question, because what we found, in order to get the permit, you have to show that you have filed the notice of commencement, but that includes your notarized information. If you do not use the new form as of January 1 of 2020's transactions, and we tried to put a notice on our website for everyone, but what we still saw is they would come in and try to record their notice of commencement. Our office would try to tell them you need the new form, but of course they already had the notary done. They would pay to record the form, but then when they go to get their permit, it was rejected appropriately because the dates in the forms weren't appropriate. So we've tried to put out additional notices on our website. Growth Management has done some work to notify people, so please, we only want to have to pay for the recording of a document once.
Right.
And the new form is posted on our website also. So anyone that is filing notices and requires a notary, new form was effective January 1 to be legal. Filed.
In e-filing, we talked about that. How can you explain that to our viewers, how
That-
they can do e-filing?
That's great. Yes, mostly the attorneys use e-filing, e-recording
Right.
of the documents, but we have the ability to do that. Right now, we have attorney deposit accounts, over 800 accounts that they're able to pre-fund so that they can easily file their records. We have an increase of about 12%. Last year was 24%, as we saw people going from walking in to file to the automated e-file. So we think it will save many, many people transacting business, doing it remotely. They don't have to come and park and walk to the office. Their filings can now be done remotely.
And finally here, what is new for you for 2020? Because you've been doing a lot in the last year and a half. I mean, I compliment you a lot. I mean, you're easy to get a hold of. You're nice that you come on the show, but you do have some new things to help our customers or the population of Collier County.
No, and thank you for the opportunity to bring that out. In addition to the risk alert that we are pretty proud of, we will be expanding a lot of the services. As you know, the county complex is maybe getting a little busy.
Right.
And in 2008, we had to downsize about 40 employees, and we closed some of the satellites. So right now we're seeing, for example, more business in Orange Blossom, Golden Gate, where we have the combined transactions of the tax collector, property appraiser, clerk. And so the county has agreed, the Eagle Creek office that's currently at 951 and 41, they'll be building a new center of combined services. And we're going to be able to expand the things that we are doing. Automation has just enabled us to move our services to the people instead of everyone having to come into the county building. And the county's also building another unit, probably in the next year and a half, at Heritage Bay at 951 and Immokalee, where we're seeing all the construction centers.
Right.
So we'll be a party to that also. People will be able to come in a little more conveniently in those locations. They'll be able to do passports, they'll be able to pay their fines, and they'll be able to process documents.
Well, Crystal, we're going to bring up on the screen, we're going to end the show here, and we're going to bring up on the screen about the website, a picture of the website. Maybe in a few words, maybe you could just explain how easy it is, has all the boxes there, and then we'll kind of wrap it up.
Thank you. On our website, as I said before, we're trying to do some easy buttons. People can go to our website, we hope, click on any of the buttons that are very visible and labeled.
Right.
Foreclosures, tax deeds, marriage license. When you click, that will direct you to the appropriate forms, how the process works, and you can really walk through those processes. If you have any trouble using our website, you can contact our outreach director, and he will help you maneuver through the website. We're also doing, tomorrow is our last of 3 joint websites that talking about our office, and we use the website and we show the customer, the citizens, how to navigate our website. So that will be held at the regional library off of 951 towards Lely, and Again, that's the last of 3. We did Marco and we did Orange Blossom, and we welcome the citizens. It's from 10 a.m. till noon, and we will be there in force to tell the community about all the services we offer.
And if they miss that, you can go to the website and you can sign up on the bottom for your newsletter too, right? There's a little icon
Yes,
there they can
please.
click, which brings you, you know, our show will be coming up on that too, I
Yes.
think, in the future.
Thank
So,
you.
Thank you for coming on the show. I'll see you next year or maybe this fall.
Thank
if
you.
I'm lucky, right?
That's great.
So-
It should be a little easier this fall. Thank
Okay,
you.
well, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Thank you.